And we are back. Just like that, man. Welcome back to the It's Just Different podcast, man. Thanks for always tuning in and keeping me going. It's been a long hiatus, longer than I expected it to be. Um, had life things going in the way, you know. Got married, shout out to my beautiful wife. And, you know, I just had to refocus myself back on sports, man. For a while, I wasn't really paying no mind to a lot of things going on. But as you can see, I don't think I did a video last time we won the championship. So there y'all go. Y'all see the hat? National champions, baby. And that's where I'm going to start right now. It's Michigan football next Saturday kickoff, 7:30 Fresno State. And there's a lot going on with you know the outsiders saying we don't think Michigan's that good anymore, and that's cool. That's cool, and it's all because of the quarterback. People say, well, you lost this, you lost that, the offensive line, and they don't really understand that the offensive line is deep. Like they got players on the line, so that's not an issue. Um, Receivers, I can understand that one. I can understand that one. But I'm super excited to see Tyler Morris finally get his shot. Highly ranked wide receiver out of Illinois. Um, if people don't remember his recruitment, he committed to Michigan in his junior season, and then his senior year he tore his ACL in that summer, so he didn't play. And freshman year, freshmen rarely play at receiver, and at Michigan at least. And he was a guy that was just behind some other dudes. His skill set is sort of like a Ronnie Bell, but um, he's a little faster if you ask me. And he's a really really good receiver, really good, great hands, and it's finally his team. He's the elder statesman in the wide receiver room. You also got Samaj Morgan, who played as a freshman, who was great. Honestly, he had to fumble in the what game was that? The Rose Bowl, and remember the Iowa game in the Big Ten championship. He got he got tackled from behind after a long punt return. But word out of camp is he's having a fantastic camp. Changed his number. He was 82 last year, I believe. His number this year is 0. Um, he's feeling more confident. People say whatever touches his hands, he catches. Just a smaller guy. You got Fred Moore, who I'm excited to. He started last year, the first game at wide receiver. Fred Moore is a true sophomore. I think he's going to have a great season. Um, our tight ends, of course, we got the best tight end in the country, Colston Loveland. You got Max Bredesen, who's more of a blocking tight end. But Marlon Klein, watch out for Marlon Klein. He's been the name since spring workouts, and everybody said, "Yo, this dude is the truth." Athletic, big dude, and I'm looking to see how they incorporate him in the passing game with a guy like Colston. And I expect Colston Loveland to be spread out at wideout sometimes because he's that good, like a mismatch, sort of the thing that you always do with your flex tight ends. Kansas City does it a lot with Kelsey um, to create matchups. But I believe that the wide receiver Marion Walker is back from Ole Miss, transferred back, and he left after the championship, and then ended up just coming back, and he's now playing receiver. He was back playing DB, converting him from wide receiver. He's a natural receiver, tall guy, and I think he's going to probably finally show that he is a true wide receiver. The guy, he said in a recent interview that playing DB made him a better receiver because he now he can he can now see by technique how a guy is and where they don't want to go, and how he can set a guy up on a route. So that's a lot going on there. I'm excited to see him. The offensive line, I think there's two spots there. Uh, Trying to figure out. I believe it's. I think there's all of the right side spots. I think it's right guard, right tackle. If I'm not messing that up, I believe left tackle is going to be Miles Hinton. Left guard is going to be um, the transfer from Northwestern. And the center, I forgot who the center was. I was just looking at this yesterday. I forgot what the center's name is. It's going to be a new guy though. No, I think the right tackle is positioned. I think Giovanni Ahani is right guard, and I think he's really good. I've watched his whole recruitment coming up some years ago. I think he's ready to ascend to showing people who he is as a player. Also, man, we got Donovan Edwards back. We got Don is back, man. Super excited to see him. He's gotten bigger and stronger, added some muscle. You also got the freshman Jordan Marshall, who is, I think he was a player. Was it Mr. Football out of Ohio? Funny, Mr. Football out of. I am not going to throw a shot at them. I'm not. Even though I should, but it is what it is. Jordan Marshall will be the running back 3. Khalil Mullings? I believe it's Khalil Mullings. Is going to be the running back 2. I want to see Cole Cabana. I haven't heard much about him, and nothing bad, but I just haven't heard. The other guys are doing their thing, so it hasn't been talked about much. And then we go to the quarterback. It's between Alex Orji, super freak athletic, and Davis Warren, the pure passer. And it's a lot of people say it's a lot of mixed. You listen to people on 3. It's Davis Warren, 24/7. It's Alex Orji. But coming down these last couple weeks, with especially this last week, from what I've been hearing and reading, Alex Orji seems to be the quarterback who's going to take the first snaps. I expect both guys to play in the first game. I expect them to play in the first game anyway because I think they're going to blow them out. But these last couple practices, I've been hearing that the offense is really looking good. They're really, really getting the best out of the defense. And that defense is going to be great again. And they're giving them a taste. They're giving them a good run for their money, man. And it's because of a lot of it is because of Alex Orji's athletic build. He's a strong guy. He's a runner, and he only has one official pass attempt. I don't know why they wouldn't let this dude just throw the ball. He has a rocket for an arm, but like most young quarterbacks, you got to learn defenses. JJ had the same problem. You got to learn defenses, and you also got to learn intermediate routes, how to put a touch on the pass. And you just can't throw a ball. You also got to make sure the defense is not, when they're locked in on your eyes, you got to be able to make a pass. You got to be able to set them up to throw a pass the way you want it to go. And sometimes his problem was he's throwing too strong or just too flat-footed and throwing obvious wide receiver screens are bouncing off the ground or a halfback screen but bouncing off the ground. Those things have been improved over the summer. He's really coming in and taking that step as a passer. He's really elevating his game. I think the dimension that he brings as a pure runner and passer, it's all about whether or not he's consistent. That's the problem. Whether he's not going to be consistent or not, that's a whole nother issue. But you got to find it out quick because you got Texas week 2. So I expect them to run out Alex Orji, and I expect them to not shy away from throwing the ball. I do, from what all accounts I've heard from the receivers and the defense, the offense have been opened up. Kirk Campbell is the new OC. He was a quarterback's coach. Everybody swears by Kirk Campbell. He was quarterback's coach. Now being the OC, he's a guy that's going to let guys. I'm not gonna just have my receivers blocking. I want to get those guys in tune with the game as well. Jim Harbaugh has had a different style. Sharon Moore being a head coach, I'm super excited for him now. I wish I would have recorded when he became the coach. Man, he deserves his own episode, and maybe we can do that down the line. But I'm super, super duped to see this team play, man, offensively. I just can't. It's going to look similar at times, but it's going to look different a lot at times. And it's so good to hear the defense say, man, it's, yeah, you're going to have certain runs, and, you're a power team. You're going to run the ball. But when they open it up, and it's exciting to hear them talk about it. And let's go to the defense. Because a lot of people say, man, you lost all of those players on defense. How good can you be? Well, according to the guys who played in that defense, who are still here, who have high respect in regard for those guys who have left. Imagine having the top defense, and then the coach leaves, the DB coach leaves, the defensive line coach leaves, the linebackers coach gets fired, and you have a new staff. And not to say the staff's better, but this staff is working with more talent. Yeah. It's hard to believe. See, a lot of those guys that left were developed into what they were. Just, low rankings, ended up developing through the program, becoming great players. Well, what's happened, like Mike Sainristil, receiver, converted to DB, who played fantastic as a DB the 2 seasons he played here, and who's making noise with the Washington Commanders now in the NFL. You have guys who are more highly ranked than the guys that left at their position, and now that they've learned the game and learned what it means to actually play college football and to dedicate yourself to the weight room and your playbook and to understanding what you need to know in this defense. There's a lot of different concepts, and now you have the more talented youngsters coming up, and now you're going to see what they mean by, we think we're better. Like, yeah, those guys were terrific and they were great. But just check this out. They got the defensive line. You already know about big Kenneth Grant. I keep losing this guy's name. Mason Graham. I don't know why I keep messing his name up. And Mason Graham should be a top 10 NFL pick. You cannot block him. You can't block Kenneth Grant, but Kenneth Grant isn't as shifty as Mason Graham is shifty. Kenneth Grant is a power dude with speed, which is freaky. Really freaky. You got Derek Moore on the outside. You got Josiah Stewart on the outside. And you have Rayshawn Benny on the inside. Eno Etta, who was a big-time defensive edge prospect last year, who moved inside, gained weight. Now he's inside. Everybody's saying he's a monster now. He's coming. You got TJ Guy, who's finally getting his chance now at the edge. And they said he's had a great spring and a fall camp. So be on the lookout. You're going to hear his name a lot according to the defense this year. And then at linebacker, you got Cole Sullivan, the true freshman, who is making noise. I don't know if he's going to start or not, but they said if he's not going to start, he's going to play a lot. Then we have Jayshon Barnham, who was a 5-star linebacker who was at Maryland, who came in during the transfer portal in the spring to Michigan. Now people go, man, we didn't get a lot of people out of the portal. We didn't get a lot of guys out of the portal. Your 5-star out of the portal is Jayshon Barnham. This dude, from people who watch the practices, imagine a bigger, faster, stronger Devin Bush. That's what everybody's comparing Jayshon Barnham to. I cannot wait to see this dude in a Wink Martindale blitz scheme defense. Now he's not gonna go crazy and blitz all the time, and like Don Brown and whatever the case may be. Like he's even said, look, I'm not gonna just go crazy and just go nuts. But he is a vet of the NFL, and you think he's gonna see offenses in college he's never seen before? Like, oh, you lost your DC. Well, our last 2 DCs learned from this guy. He's the one who invented this defense. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a bad thing to have the teacher be the coordinator because those guys went on to the NFL. It is what it is, man. I'm excited to see him though, because Jayshon Barnham, I heard last week. This is like a little funny comment I heard is that during practice, Wink Martindale had to take him out of practice during the live sessions because he was wrecking dudes on the offensive side. On like, bro, you're playing against your own team. Like they had to sit him down for save that for the games. We need dudes healthy. He was out here rocking dudes left and right, they said last week. And I'm like, wow. Like, I can't. That's one dude on the defense I just can't wait to see. The second dude I can't wait to see is Jair Hill, who's going to be cornerback too. He was battling with a transfer, and I can't off the top of my head remember the guy's name. Again, I'm not in front of my computer, so it makes me mad. But he did come in as I want to say a senior, a graduate transfer, I believe, and he was in the running with Jair Hill for CB2, but Jair seems to be the guy. And when Coach Moore talks about it at the press conference, he's basically sewn up that position as being cornerback too. And I loved Jair Hill out of high school. Like I don't watch a lot of film on guys, but I watched this dude's film. Athletic, has the build, and like Will Johnson said, he had to just learn the playbook and learn to stop making the same mistakes. Will Johnson said he's not making the same mistakes over and over again. Everybody makes mistakes. His biggest problem was he was continuously making the same mistake over and over and over again. Now he's come back in the spring. He was making the same mistake. Came back summer, stayed back, hit the weight room, hit his playbook. Came back to fall camp, not making those mistakes anymore. Will Johnson said he's not that. He's an improved as a player. You can see it. His confidence has risen, and he's ready to take on that position. He's a dude that he's not gonna be afraid of the lights. I'm telling y'all. I can't wait to see this young guy play. I believe he's a true. I don't know if they redshirted him last year, but I believe he's a true sophomore. I believe he is. And then at slot you got Zeke Berry, who was a fantastic safety coming out of high school in California. He has the slot sold up, and we know on that other side, man, we got the best defensive back in the country. 2. You wear number 2. Y'all know who it is, man. Will Johnson. Hey, when to hear him say last year he was only about 75%. He could not get himself to get all the way healthy throughout the year. 75% is crazy because he's a lockdown, shutdown corner from what you've seen last year. If that's 75%, what the hell is 100%? What the hell is that? But I'm excited to see him. Of course, man, we got Rod Moore out toward ACL. Coach Rod Moore now, he's doing a lot of coaching right now. Safety, we got Makari Page. And then Wesley Walker out of Tennessee who transferred. I think he's going to be the next safety. And then we also got Quentin Johnson. No, Quentin Johnson is going to be the second safety. I think Walker is going to be your third safety. And I don't know how deep we are at defensive back. I know we got Jade McBurrows. We got a few guys, but I depth. If you're going to ask me why someone can say this defense won't be as good, Kenneth Grant said it at the Big Ten. The Big Ten network came down there and interviewed those guys, and Kenneth Grant said the only way you can compare this defense differently from last year is we're not as deep. They don't have as much depth. So guys have to hurry up and learn on the fly. And that's where you can say, well, this defense is not going to be as good because they can bring in 2 defensive lines and everybody be fresh throughout the game. So that's why in the fourth quarter or in overtime against Alabama, they're wrecking dudes and just breaking down the offensive line because they're fresh and they're ready to go. So that's the only I want to say issue from the defensive line or the defense. Anyways, I believe that the defense is going to be, if not better, just as good. I don't think it's going to be anything that's lower than that. I do believe that the schedule was tough Schedule is very tough. I'll talk more about the conference as a whole as we go on throughout this week. 7 days away. You got Oregon on your schedule. You got week 2. You got Texas at home, but you got Texas. You got Washington in Washington. Washington is going to not be good, but it's also West Coast trip. I don't want to call it a trap game, nothing like that. It's just a West Coast trip, and the time difference always throws guys off. But I don't think Washington is going to be good at all. Of course, you got that team, those guys who whine about everything. The last game of the season, we also got USC at home. I don't know how we got all of these damn teams, but hey, bring them into the conference. Let them see what Big Ten football is all about. But people are, here's my thing. Here's been my biggest gripe, right, with people's opinion of Michigan. And I've said this to friends in passing. Well, but we all do it. We all do it. And I've done it myself. When you don't know the answer to the test, you tend to just think that if you can't see the answer to the test, you tend to just think negatively about stuff. Oh, I'm going to fail. Like I can't. If I don't know what's happening or what's coming, then there's no way I can actually take this test and pass it, right? That's the analogy I'm going to give, because what happens is with sports opinions is if you don't know, like people, all these guys are not local guys. They're not beat writers. They're not watching everything about your teams. So when they go, well, Michigan lost J.J. McCarthy thanks to my Minnesota Vikings. Skol. I'm so sad that he's out for the season, but that's a whole nother video. They go, well, they possibly can't be good. So when you hear all these people say they're not going to make the playoffs, 12-team playoff, by the way, this year, they're not going to make the playoffs. Penn State's going to be better than them. Oregon's going to run the Big Ten. Ohio State spent $1 bajillion on their team. They're going to win. They're going to be good. And it's like Michigan lost this. Michigan lost Blake Corum. Michigan lost all these offensive linemen. They lost these Vista players. Georgia used to lose a lot of players. Alabama lost a lot of players. And then the next year, Ohio State lose a lot of. Next year, they're right back just doing what they're doing. Penn State, same thing. You guys give James Franklin all the fucking credit in the world every year, but he seems to get top 5, top 10 preseason rankings. But when it comes to Michigan, it's like, well, we don't know who the quarterback's going to be. We don't know if he's going to be a good quarterback. We don't know about the offensive line. We don't know about the running backs. We know Donovan Edwards is a good player, but he's not healthy a lot. Then we don't know about the Wink Martindale's coming into the college game. I don't know how that's negative, but people tend to just think, oh, because I have not seen these players play or seen this team play, this iteration of the Michigan Wolverines, Team 145, by the way, I have not seen this team play, so obviously they're not good. I don't understand that frame of mind. Like I just don't, and I've done it before, but I've often had to see the ill in my ways. Like, yo, that doesn't make sense. Like, if you just because you have not seen it does not mean it's not going to be that way. I find it hard to believe that Michigan's going to win 7 games. Like, what I've heard 6. I heard a Michigan fan say 6 games on the radio. What the hell are you looking at? Like, listen, I digress. We got 7 days. We're going to get into the conference. We're going to get into other things because, now is game week, and who knows what happens during the week. But right now, that's my thoughts on the team going into next week. And game week, let's see. Fresno State. We'll talk more about the team, more about who the insiders think is going to, what the insiders really think about the quarterback competition this week. And then we get ready for Fresno State, man. I'm going to miss that game. I hate that I'm going to miss it, but I have other plans. But I'm super excited, super excited. I'm excited for this team. Shout out to Coach Harbaugh. We're going to miss you, but it's Sharon Moore's team. It's Sharon Moore's time. And, I'm not going to do the whole scandal thing. Right now, at least, at some point I'll talk about it. it was funny. Someone who wants one of the two people I was like really like keeping like really paying attention to with their information about the whole scandal. It's funny how that one of the guys come out and says, um, he's gonna have a special guest on his show the week of the Conor Stallions documentary dropping on Netflix. He's like, you're not gonna want to miss this guest. And then he comes on. He's like, well, the guest can't make it. He got other plans. He has other things going on. And this guy goes, well, the information I was getting was from Conor Stallions, and that was going to be the special guest. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of makes sense with if you know what I was hearing and whose podcast I was listening to and stuff like that, and whose writings I was reading. But I'll get into that down the line. I'm tired of all the whining and complaining and crying. Listen, man. The week of the Michigan State game, it was all on blowing up on television. It was everywhere. From that point forward, you watch the team play. I mean, what questions did you have? If he was really doing if he was, I've said it since the beginning. I believe he was doing what they said he did, but I don't think it was as cut and dry as I'm giving Michigan all these players and they're beating people because of it. Not at all. It's not that simple, people. And y'all watch the Rose Bowl. Y'all damn sure watch the championship game. One team belonged. One team looked like they didn't. It's that simple. I'll see y'all next time. Peace. We back, baby!